Amazing.
They're good.
Yeah, it's fucking
Crowd.
amazing. Yeah, it's great. Northern crowds are better.
I agree.
I'm not just saying that. Right, I wouldn't lie. God, no,
Yeah,
need to.
yeah.
I don't give a fuck about stuff like that. But yeah, it really does make a difference somehow. My favourite place to play is Hull.
Hull?
Hull.
Why's that?
The Adelphi's there.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Hull other than my grandpa supports them.
Ah,
Yeah.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Can't remember. Oh no. Well,
Can you picture that man's face in my living room when they were 2-0 up against Arsenal in the FA Cup final, and he's never seen them win a thing, and he's 85, and then they concede 3 times. Terrible.
Oh well, football's not important.
It's not important.
So yeah, so Nottingham was magic. It's fucking amazing crowd. Not that like crowds in the south are shit. They're a lot harder work when you're a smaller band. But there's just a noticeable energy in the room when you're up north that you can't replicate. It's just there. It's great.
Yeah, certainly a part of that, I'd say. From the north, I like to hear that sort of praise, because it's a horrible place to be from economically. So.
Exactly. Well, that's what I said yesterday. I said it's better up north, but it's not because of your infrastructure or your job opportunities. It's because of you lot.
Yeah, but also the live experience is ultimately down to you, and obviously the crowd is a big factor.
It's not down to us.
From my perspective, from a person's perspective who's watching you.
But like, if no one's there, you're wanking, aren't you?
Good point. A very good point.
It's all about the audience. Obviously, you know, like we made it a thing. Our first drummer is no longer our drummer.
Yeah.
He's still alive. He just drummed it into us before we ever played live. We didn't play live for a while because we were shit. But he was like, make sure you always, no matter who you're playing to, give them the best show, because they paid money to see you, and you don't want to rip them off. And it's always something that's stuck with us. You just got to give it everything you've got for every show.
It's incredibly encouraging to hear that. Like, but what I meant was maybe I can go and see any band. I can go and see, you know, the new band that came from, I don't know, our uni, for example, or whatever. And if they're not putting on the kind of shows that you put on, I'm not going to enjoy it as much, obviously, because it's going to be a worse show. These things lead. So how important do you think is it for a band with your sort of direct political statements, for it to be carried by your sound? Do you think it's crucial for it to be directly linked to playing more ferocious forms of rock music, or can it be sort of projected in any form of genre?
Well, whatever you talk about, no matter what you're interested in, it should be what you believe. The reason why I talk about the things I talk about is because that's what I talk about with my friends and family and my partner. So like, I wasn't going to write about anything else. I'm not interested. I'm not good at telling stories, and I'm just interested in things that I talk about.
Yeah.
There's no duty. What I feel is interesting is changing narratives and acting as like a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
So like, people, you know, guys started getting a bit aggressive at our shows, and I was already thinking about me as a man and my role in society and what I can do to be a better partner, better friend, better musician in therapy, counselling and such. And it just dawned on me that like, people are calling us a punk band, a political band, this, that and the other, and you've got all these blokes coming, acting like fucking apes. And I was like, that's the way it is. It's an aggressive tone, so it evokes aggression. So I wanted to change that narrative, and it's great. What you do is you use a trope and you turn it upside down, and people are paying more attention to it. Simple as that. We want to be a Trojan Horse and get in the hearts and minds of people.
Yeah. And
then have a conversation with them about what we want to talk about.
That's interesting that you've called yourselves a Trojan Horse. Like, yes. A lot of media outlets and journalists will sort of pounce on you as a punk band and a, as I say, overtly political band and want to call you political, revolutionary, etc. Like, what's the worst label you've been given?
Political.
Yeah, and that is that because it's not substantial or sincere, or?
It's substantial in the sense that I'm always going to be mindful of my societal role. Like, it's not something I'm going to get bored of talking about. I'll sing about whatever I fucking want.
Yeah.
Hello, you're right. But the point is, the best thing a media outlet can do is label you. Then they've got control of you and they can commodify you and send you off packaged. And what they don't want is for young people to normalise political thinking, creative thinking. Because if you've got loads of creative thinking, politically minded young people that don't go, oh, I'll listen to that political band today. If it's in there, if it's a normative, and everyone has it in their discourse of why am I buying bread from there when I can buy it from there?
Yeah.
It changes everyone's mindset, and it restructures people's action as well as thinking, because it's easy to think politically now and again, but if you're acting on it day-to-day basis,
yeah,
it turns into voting, turns into loads of people voting for Corbyn instead of the Tories, and they don't want that. That's why they're cutting out the arts from schooling, because they don't want creative thinkers, they want soldiers. And like, you know, you're not gonna get that if you allow people to speak outwardly. And the reason why they're now having to write about us as a political band is they didn't want to write about us at all.
Yeah.
But we built a community through word of mouth, small gigs, DIY shows, working hard, appreciating everyone that comes to shows, having conversation, respecting people for who they are instead of treating everyone as an audience.
Yeah.
And then building that slowly over 10 years. So, you know, all these magazines are ignoring us. Oh, fuck it. You know, they don't look the part, they don't sound the part, they're not like this, they're not that. They're not marketable. And now we have to be marketable because people are buying our album and coming to our shows. So they have to. So they're like, well, what do we do? Oh, they're a political band.
And it's easy because there's a shift in populism in Britain towards the left. So they can pull out these labels of political left wing, and because that's flavour of the month, they can market you.
Then they can throw you about like a rag doll.
Absolutely. And
it's easy. Whereas, like, you know, the more mindful you are, that's why with this album, Joy is an Act of Resistance, it was about changing that narrative again. We're not an angry punk band.
No.
We're a compassionate, loving group of young men who want to change the narrative. We are feminists, but we're not excluding men. We want those aggressive men to come to our shows, have conversations with them, treat them with respect and show them what a safe place looks like.
It's the best use of the word universal you could ever have. Really.
And then obviously not cut out the right, not just throw the right into a corner and call them racist and stupid. Understand that the people are voting Brexit and they're voting for Tories for a reason, trying to understand that by talking to them about it.
And that's why you maybe use the word discourse. Like, that's exactly what we should be creating a structure around, as opposed to having a sort of one-sided attack-minded attitude towards people we disagree with necessarily, or but we can understand where they're coming from even.
Yeah, but that's what they want. They want us to be a left-wing aggressive band that they can pigeonhole. It keeps it separate, divide and conquer. They want us to be sectarian-minded instead of pluralism, which is really confusing for people that want to commodify, because they can't be like, well, they're this, well, we're not that. Well, yeah, you are. Well, we're not shouting. I once mentioned Theresa May in any of my fucking songs. I'm talking about the people having a conversation with the masses and changing the narrative. Because, you know, it's very easy to do, but luckily we've got a strong community of people that aren't built on fucking shoe adverts. It's built on going to shows, and they see what we do and they believe us. So we've got that.
Harry,
so obviously talk about the theme of like toxic masculinity in a couple of these songs, like
masculinity. Talking about masculinity.
Okay. So
which is toxic.
Yeah. So as a whole, or just certain aspects of it?
Whole.
As a whole thing, as a whole like notion, concept. Yeah. So I know, I agree with you, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But
why do you think that's happening now? Like, why are you the first band to sort of...
We're not.
I know you're not,
Bikini Kill were talking about it a long time ago.
Yeah.
What, Bowie was
the first child band, like, to have it, and you know, people.
What about Savages?
They've not got the fifth highest selling album of the weekend. But the point is more to do with.
Sorry,
There's a sort of a new-founded area of interest, not just in people who are from a particular part of society, but generally speaking, with Robert Webb's book about it.
Yeah.
You seem like you're another bastion of that sort of attitude, which is propelling it towards the mainstream.
Yeah.
Like, why do you think that like now is the time that people like you and authors like Robert Webb are being able to be marketed?
Again, because it can't be ignored.
Yeah.
And again, because they can commodify feminism.
Yeah.
And they can commodify toxic masculinity instead of masculinity. It's toxic masculinity. So, on one sense of it, you can attack toxic masculinity, but still sell Go Faster shampoo. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like sell shower gel as like a fucking engine part.
You think about
it's a shower gel.
That's a Shaw Men thing.
Yeah, and like, you know, it's easy to market that. It's in the public consciousness because of it, like the binaries that are being set in society, because things are more violent. You've got a more aggressive Tory government that are slowly dismantling the NHS, victimising and vilifying the poor in the same breath. You've got them attacking immigration, and you've got an economy that's dipped 3 times. What that does is it puts a stranglehold on a feeling of democratic living. The poor are more anxious and more wary of their situation, which puts them in a corner, makes them angry and hateful and scared. And they're the most reactive voters you'll ever have, which is why suddenly Brexit and the Tory government is skyrocketing, and the left is getting stronger as the left is polarising. So with that comes more active thinking, because people are less patient and more like not comfortable with where they are. So they want to do something about it. Masculinity is a very archaic place. My father is an artist and is very expressive and loving and compassionate, very patient man.
Yeah.
But I've seen him cry once. I've cried 4 times this week. Do you know what I mean? So there's a generational gap there, and masculinity as a praxis is archaic and dangerous, especially in a society where everyone feels isolated because of social media. You think you're being connected, but it's disconnected. You've got a government that are putting everyone in corners and making them feel isolated. So isolation is pushing people to think about their identity and question it.
Yeah.
Like the biggest killer of men of the 40s, suicide.
Yeah.
And that's
95% of violent crime, men.
Is men, yeah.
So you got the statistics are there, and you say that 95% of violent crime is committed by men, and people go, well, yeah. But why? Yeah. Does it like you're not harder because you've got a knife? Your stabbings are nearly always men. So why is that? It's not cowardice. It's isolation. It's a feeling of not being able to feel you're part of the contract as a man.
Like idolization, like I feel like idolization is a big part of us as social creatures. Idolization is a big concept. So we have people want to put each other in boxes. And we ourselves feel a need to fulfill that idolization other people have of us sometimes. That's why sometimes you see people act differently with different groups of friends, you differently with family.
But it's not sometimes, it's always.
All the time,
And like, what sparked me to start writing about masculinity more was therapy and Grayson Perry's The Descent of Man. It just helped me understand the infrastructure, ideological infrastructure of masculinity easier as a set of tropes that are affecting society. But like, then I was like, when something simplifies something for me in a way that I can understand it fully, it allows me to be really blunt with it and just throw it into a song. But it was something that I had to do in my own life first.
That's incredible. My brother's currently going through that. He's depressed and has been through 2 therapists. And his second therapist made him write this letter. which basically just was a sort of microcosm of what you just said. So it's pretty mad that you just said that. So obviously taking a step back, you're seen as a band which talks about social and political issues.
Yes.
From anyone,
Mm.
from any perspective.
Mm.
What sort of issue do you think needs talking about more, which you haven't already talked about within your music?
Economic inequality in our country, number one.
Yeah.
The middle classes are fucked, the poor are fucked, and the rich are richer than they've ever been. It's a feudal country where the landlords don't now live on the land, they live in fucking, well,
Speaking
in number 10 Downing Street, and then fucking China. So like,
not
you
even
know,
just that, like domestically, my landlord lives in fucking Woking.
yeah, it's insane. So
I live
like,
in Selly Oak, one of the worst residential areas in the whole country. Lives in Woking, it's like leafy Surrey.
yeah.
Horrible man.
Well, like, you know, so I'd say that's something that I want to talk about more.
Yeah.
And investment in war, I find weird at the moment. But I don't know. I don't like to think about what I'm going to write about until the songs are written.
No. But not necessarily what you're going to write about, but what you'd like to hear from your favourite band and what they should be saying now.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm asking for a new perspective.
I mean, I don't think anyone should write about anything. They should write about what they want to write about. Yeah, not like, you know, if someone wants to write about their cat, if the song's good, I like it. Do you know what I mean? Like, my favourite album's about Belfast. It's not political, it's just about, well, actually it is political, everything's political, but, and it was about a transvestite in the 70s, so it probably was
Yeah,
quite
that sounds
political.
quite political.
But like, you know, I don't pay attention to lyrics very often.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, I think no one's got a duty to write about anything. I think everyone, audience, artist, whatever, has a duty to be mindful of their role in society and sustain a healthy family and community and country and beyond. Like, you just don't be a cunt, basically.
Yeah.
You know, just stop being a cunt.
That
However
link,
you can be.
going back to what I'm
Because I'm talking from my perspective. I was a cunt
Yeah.
for 15 years. I was an utter cunt, and
Is that true?
he doesn't. He's only met me today. He's the rapist from Pulp Fiction. You're in celebrities. Yeah. So I'm talking about the last two albums have been an exploration or documenting the exploration of trying to be a better person and making loads of fucking mistakes along the way. So like, I think everyone has a duty to do that. What you write about, like what you write about in your music or your art or your paint or whatever, doesn't have to be about what you're trying to do in life. Who I vote for, that's the best thing I can do, is vote for someone that I believe, not in their personality, but in their policies. So as long as I do that, you know, and I don't fucking buy from Primark and then have a go at someone for eating meat in the same breath, you know, like, just don't be a cunt. But what I write about is up to me, and if you don't like it, that's fine. Buy Oasis' next album or whatever. But they're not even going to release that one. I should be more topical soon. Buy Sleaford Monson, you know.
So, why was nobody writing from I've said this far too many times already, but your perspective of someone who writes directly about politics, writes directly about social issues, mental health issues, why was nobody writing about that during the Iraq War or the Libyan intervention?
They were.
But why was it not being, I don't know, why was it not being portrayed by the sort of, I hate using these phrases, but the up and coming artists, the artists that are breaking through? Why was that not acceptable? So who was, to educate me first of all, who was writing about the Libyan intervention?
The what?
The Libyan intervention.
Oh,
so
right.
getting Gaddafi.
No one, but I wouldn't have written about the Libyan intervention.
But why not? I'm not saying you should write about anything.
Because I had to write about Mary Berry, man.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
What is it about policies now, actions now, which are evoking artists to
circumstance, I guess. I think what they've done is they've realised that the younger generation are a lot more politically mindful, which is why there was a huge sway towards Corbyn at the last minute, because young people suddenly realised that their future was in a bunch of psychopaths' hands.
Me and Harry did realise that.
Yeah, and a lot of brands and a lot of record labels realised that and realised they could invest, because young people are the ones that are, you know, most marketable. So they realise they can't ignore. You know, for instance, they shut loads of youth clubs in London, and then there's riots on the streets. Like fucking the worst riots since Stephen Lawrence. No, before that, fucking hell. It was, you know, the riots in London and beyond, up north as well. So you can't ignore it, and now they realise they can't ignore it. And like, we've just been given a platform, not by the industry, but by our audience who built it themselves. This is the Afghan and people that are coming to our shows. They haven't come to our shows because Radio 1 have told them we're the best things since sliced bread. They've just got their mate Dave going, IDLES are really good, just go check them out, there's something in town. That's what's happened. It's just taken us 10 years to not be ignored now. And it's happening with Cabbage, it's happening with Shane.
I was just going to say Cabbage, because I'm from Manchester, so they're basically the, you know, I was told about Cabbage by my mates who'd seen them support this band and that band. And I was told they are speaking about, you know, terrorist synthesizers, which is not the title of a song which I've ever seen from a Manchester band, or I haven't seen for a while from a Manchester band. Talking about, you know, Snowden and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's magic, and like they would have been ignored had all those people not come to their show. Without sounding like an utter twat. It's the power of the people. That's it. It's music for the people, by the people, and it can only be ignored for so long. And it's exactly what happens with politics in general. Is that, you know, the reason why Americanized politics is coming over here is because it's easier, like we were talking about before, to commodify something. Corbyn and Theresa May and these personalities, it's like people are now voting for the person, whereas before people were dying for policies. They were dying for policies. People were like fucking rioting, strikes, unions. It was a violent time because people were mindful of the policies that were changing everyone's lives violently. In a heartbeat, someone's life was fucking ruined by Thatcher. So now they're trying to make it about the personalities, because then it becomes a game, and it's like, you know, that's fucking dangerous. It's easier for the 1%, but I think people are becoming more proactive and definitely politically minded, so they're trying to put us in a pocket of political bands so that not loads of bands are political. But really it's happening across the board. It's not just white guys with guitars, it's black guys with decks and microphones. You know? It's like the grime community were commodified, and it has almost been shut down now because the grime scene was a really vibrant, proactive, politically minded scene from London,
nationwide
Manchester.
Scene as well. Nationwide scene.
But obviously it started in London, with Manchester and Birmingham and places. So it was starting to spread, and it was young black people having a platform to do something amazing for their community. And then it was like, you know, it turned into trap, drill. You know, and then it's like, you get shut down.
Black men and women as well. Like, you can see, like, IMDb from Manchester talks about that all the time. She's all about that, and now she's, you know, hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube, and she's coming to her own gigs in Manchester playing Parklife, and people are just shouting at her because she's been, you know, positioned as a northern female rapper, and everybody just wants to see that when actually she's talking about something underneath that. I don't know if you listen to IMDb, she's top. And she just rejected her whole audience because they weren't there to listen to that. They were there to see this positioned person who was from the north will bounce on that. You know.
Exactly. So it's, you know, we're lucky. We had to play the long game because we were being ignored. So now we've got like loads of people that are loyal and open-minded, and we haven't been commodified because people still don't know what to do with us. You know what I mean? Like in the, you know, we're not getting written about much.
No.
Which is great because we're allowed to make mistakes and fuck about and get better quietly, and, you know, not have to do bullshit.
Joe,
like,
I'm
social media stuff.
I'm inspired by you. I think you're a top band. I think
Thank you
not
very
only
much.
musically, but you invigorate all forms of positive reaction that I could ever possibly want to get from
Yeah,
listening to guitar music
thank you.
in the 21st century. So
Well, I warn you now, our
thank you
next,
very, very much.
it's alright, our next album's going to be super racist, so
Yeah.
you're fucked. No. But no, thank you, I appreciate you saying that, I really do. And like, you know, it's only because people have come to our shows and made us feel safe and able to do it. Like,
That would be a Trojan Horse, wouldn't it? If you had got in and then become completely racist.
proper Tory.
What a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Screwdriver.
Yeah. No, yeah, I jest. It's definitely not gonna. Oh my God, it's that man from the BBC. But yeah, you know, like it's not something we built.
And
that's
thanks for
the
doing this
important
interview all the time. We're just our uni paper, innit? Like,
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, you're more than welcome, and thanks for asking interesting questions for a change.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Well, you guys don't have to rush up. You know what I mean? You can stick around. There's beers. We call them green smoothies, eh? So thanks very much. Good
Thank you so
question.
much. Yeah.
Thank you.
What's up, man? What's up, man?
Well, yeah, like I said, stick around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, something about
It's all perfect.
Thanks.
very slick.
Oh well. Beer around the corner.
In fairness, we'll probably be able to review it.
Quite a lot of people in the one pub that doesn't look like you'll get glass or something. It's good. It's brilliant. You go, there's 3 in a row. Just go.
What do you want to do?
Yeah.
No.
This is really big.
No, there's no.